Hi, I'm now going to take you through the MIDAAS software, how to store, view, analyze all the data. For this, firstly, we need to get the data into the MIDAAS. How do we do that? There are two ways of doing it. And the one way is the patient CD from the cath lab is loaded into the CD drive of the laptop or desktop to which MIDAAS is plugged into. Once the CD is loaded, MIDAAS recognizes the DICOM format in the CD and asks your permission whether the data can be uploaded into MIDAAS. Once you give permission, the data is then transferred into MIDAAS automatically. You can transfer patient by patient, or if there are multiple patients in the CD, you can transfer multiple patients. Once the data is inside the MIDAAS, you'll be able to see whatever data that was entered when the patient was admitted into the cath lab automatically captured by MIDAAS. However, there is a lot of other information that has to be entered into MIDAAS to make it as a powerful analysis tool, and the consultant cardiologist wouldn't have the time to do the data entry, so they would want some help. And in this situation, they can give permission to their colleagues to do the data entry. Having said that, MIDAAS can have multiple users as in different roles. The roles can be as an operator, as be an investigator. The administrator, in other words, who's the head of the cath lab, will have access to all the information that is inside MIDAAS. And if they are logged in as an operator or even as other investigators, they will have data confidentiality. They will have their own dashboard and visibility to the data. Between two different users, they wouldn't be able to view the data. So that way, the confidentiality of the data is maintained. Only the administrator can see the whole picture. Let me just show you how to create, in this example of a data operator who's going to enter data into MIDAAS. Tools, user account, create new user, and Jane. Let's create a user called Jane. And the password should be a combination of alphanumeric and special characters. So let's have a password of Jane at 123. We'll confirm the password. And Jane is going to be the data entry operator. So we'll give operator access. And you can also control the access with the password expiry. In this case, there are 15 days validity, and there will be a prompt in 3 days. The secret question, in case if you forget the password: which city you're born, and this is done. So you finish. As you see, user account has been created successfully. Okay, so now let's see whether this user has been created. I'm going to log off here and log in again as Jane. So here, when you go to this little tab and see you have Jane and the administrator, the password is Jane at 123, and you log in. So here there is no data. Jane is entered as an operator, and here she can upload all the data, and this will go under Jane. So, and the data will be visible to the administrator because Jane has been created as a user under the administrator. And after 15 days, the password would expire and the data visibility will be with the administrator. Right. So let us log off here. And now let's go back to our admin login. And we are logged in. So now the administrator gets visibility to all the information that's already there. Okay, now let me take you through the other menus. If you see the top left corner, the number of cases loaded so far is 23, QC analyzed is 4, data entered is 18 patients, and the last case viewed, loaded, analyzed, and data entered. If you go down and see the vessel types, this little pie chart gives a picture of what types of vessels are being treated in this lab. So LAD is 35% in this case, RCA is 24%, left main 18%, and left circumflex is 24%. And if you move to the right, you see the different stent lengths that they are being used. And these are the charts of the stent types, BMS, DES, and a combination of both. And month-wise procedures is what you see here. And gender-wise split, and you also see the age-wise what sort of patients are being treated. So that gives a nice snapshot of what is happening in the lab, say on a Friday evening. If the administrator wants to know the story, this paints a nice storyboard. Now I'm going to take you through the other menus. You have the procedure CD. I will show you the patient list. So when you click patient list, you see all the list of patients here, and as you know, MIDAAS can hold 5,000 patients with a 2 terabyte memory. If you have 5,000 patients and if you want to search, these are the web strings that you have. You can search through the physician's name, the patient's first name, surname, and you can also search. You've got different filters here, so you can search through these filters with the date, today, current week, current month, or any of these. So in this case, I will show you an example of a physician. So if you type the physician's name, it pulls out all the patients done by this physician. So that's how quickly you can search. So that is today. If I click, there is no date today, and if you go last year, there's no data. Last month, last week, yesterday. So that's how you can search and get to your patients. At any point of time, if you want to go back to your home screen, if you click dashboard, that will take you back to your home screen. So in this case, I'm going to load a patient's data now to show you the other features. Let me select a patient, and that patient's data is now being loaded. And once the data is loaded, this is the screen that appears. So here you have all the patient information. These data are already entered in the cath lab: the patient's identification, first name, middle name, last name, the gender, the date. And if you want more address and contacts information, Jane can enter the data for this patient, and you can also attach a photograph for the database. And these are the different tags. I will come back to the tags a little later. And the clinical information, if you click that, you have the clinical information, like the procedure information, the physical examination, risk factors, and these are the risk factors. If you want to record if the patient is hypertensive, you can click yes, or if you don't know, it's don't know. And if the patient is diabetic, if you click yes, then you have to specify what type of diabetes, and previous, for example, previous AMI, previous PCI, previous cabbage, and if the ECG was performed. All of this the risk factors gets captured here. And medication history: if the patient is currently taking cardiac related medication, yes, and you can say if the patient is on ACE inhibitor, you can select and record that. Or if you don't know, you can just click don't know. Or if the patient is not on any medications, no. So let's leave it by default as don't know. And the diagnosis history here is by default don't know, but then if there was a blood sample that is taken and analyzed, if you click yes, then it lasts for the date, and then you can click hemoglobin, the patient values, upper limit, and if there is any other unit that you want to record. So this is how you enter the diagnosis history. Lesions information. So in this, you record the lesions information, the disease territory, whether it's LAD, LCX, RCA, or left main, and the number of diseased vessels, left ventriculography, the ventricular contractile function, if there is ejection fraction, if you want to capture, you can do all of that. And lesion information, here you have the basic information. If what's the TIMI flow, moderate or severe calcium, if there was a thrombus, yes or no, whether it was a de novo lesion or restenotic lesion, lesion location, classification, if there was a total occlusion. All of these information goes in here. And if you click procedural adjunctive therapy, if there is any medication, heparin, then you can capture that. And if you move towards the adverse events, probably on the lesion info, we can see the pre-procedure. If there was any pre-procedure that was done, and if these are the procedural data, whether it was a radial approach or a femoral approach or brachial, bifurcation, yes and no, target lesion, lesion pre-dilatation, and the balloon details, the diameter, the length, and the deployment pressure. And stenting, here you can capture the stents as well. So you can add the stent information, say supralimus score, and if you want to go to, say, if you're using Science V, I clicked, I say no in this case. As you see, Science V, then the stent type is regulating stent, Abbott vascular. You can change the stent diameters here, lengths, and the deployment pressure. And if you go to post-procedure, if there is any post-procedure done, then obviously you could select yes, and then if IABP or any atherectomy, IVUS, FFR, anything if that was done, then you record that as well. And if you move down to adverse events, if there was any adverse events, you can capture the adverse events as well. QCA reports. If you have done a QCA, then you could do a QCA report printout as well. And if you go to patient reports, you can add reports. If you had a Word format or an Excel format report somewhere, you can add that report. You select the path in the computer, then you can print that as well. And MIDAAS reports can be customized depending upon the requirement of the clinician. So we can do that as well. And because you're giving access to different people to enter data, there is a trail here, and you will know exactly what is happening. If somebody has entered data or edited data or whatever. Right. So we go back to the patient information. So you have seen now MIDAAS acts as an ECRF. You can enter and capture and record all of this information, and this becomes a proper database. And we go back to patient list. We'll save this information currently, and whenever you change data, you have to specify a reason so that you know why the data has been changed. I'm doing a demo here, so demo and the data, whatever changes we made here to this particular patient is saved. Right. So we are moving into another function of MIDAAS now. Now MIDAAS is going to be a DICOM viewer. As you see there, the DICOM images can be played. So you are viewing now the DICOM images, and you can burn these images into a CD. You can save them, you can print them, and the beauty here is you can actually convert this file. I'm sure the clinicians will like this feature. You can export this video into a CD and incorporate into your PowerPoint as well. The way we export files into, like, we convert the DICOM files into different formats, and we can export it into in the pen drives, or basically it's a video, so you can have it in your pen drive or incorporate it into your Microsoft PowerPoint presentations. Let me show how to do that. You go and click export to video. Here is the option. The video quality can be low, better, high. And the video file types, you have MP4, 3GP, AVI, and FLV. So basically, from into different devices, from your mobile to your other devices, you can play all of these formats. Let's go for the common format, AVI. And either you can select all the frames, or you can even specify the number of frames that you need to convert. Let's convert all formats here. And if you don't want the patient information for confidentiality, you can just knock that off. And if you want the QCA, you can include. If there are keyframes and measurements that you need to include, you can select that also. And if you click OK, it's going to ask where to copy, and I'm going to copy that in my desktop. So now the file conversion has started, and if you look down, you can see the number of frames, the frames are seconds, all of that. So here is my video that is exported successfully, and my video is actually playing from the desktop. So that's how quickly you can do that. And once this conversion is done, you can obviously save it in your thumb drive or take it into your PowerPoint presentation. This is a nice feature which the clinicians will like, and you know, you can play this. And what we can do is, in case if you have, I'm going to freeze here, if this frame is of interest to you, then you can mark it with different markers. And if you don't want to have the patient details, you can just untick this, and then the patient details disappears. So if I want to come back to this frame later or explain it to someone, I could mark this with any of these colors that are available. Let's do, say, a red frame. You see a red box, and then I move one frame and to another red, and we come back, mark red. So I marked 3 frames, and now I'm going to mark with an yellow frame. So, and if you now play the red ones, you will have only the red ones. You can see only the red ones, and if you click the yellow arrow, you only see the red frames. And you have 4 color options here, which you can use it for your training or your explaining purposes. Right, so that now you have seen MIDAAS as a database, MIDAAS as a DICOM viewer, as an archival medium. So we have taken you through those keys, and you can also change the grayscale for viewing if it's required. There are different options here to differentiate, and you can go back to your grayscale whenever you need it. And I've gone back to my grayscale now. There is another thing which I'm going to show you now, which is the analysis. We can prepare this frame for a quantitative coronary angiography, and this is offline QCA, and it's absolutely brilliant. Let's select this frame for a QCA, and let's do this. I'm going to prepare this for a QCA, and if you click that QCA tab, the frame is now being prepared for coronary quantitative coronary angiography. And the frame and the frame time and the frame rates, all of that can be seen at the bottom of the screen. So now this frame is ready for QCA. We have to do a quick catheter calibration. So we do that calibration in 2 clicks, accept it. So the calibration is accepted of the catheter, and we'll do a single point automatic QCA on this vessel. So we select that P and the Q points and the D. So that's how quickly you do your quantitative coronary angiography. So you have the minimum lumen diameter and the maximum diameter and the mean as well, and that's for the diameter. And here you have the area graph. This is calibrated, so the details are accurate. And if you want to generate a quick QC report, you could just create a QC report, and to mask the patient information, you click this mask edit, and then it masks the information. So we can get back quickly, and to clear all this, we can just clear the QC information as well. So from wherever we are, if you want to get back to the dashboard, we get back to the dashboard. If I don't want to save the details, I click no, and this takes me to the original dashboard. So with this, we have seen the different functions of MIDAAS, storing, viewing, and analyzing. And we have seen a powerful QCA, we have seen the ECRF bit, and we are back to the home screen. So that brings us to the end of the tour of MIDAAS. I hope you enjoyed, and we wish to hear from you. And should you need more information, you can log on to our website, www.mida.as. There's more information available, and from the website you could even send us an email to have more information, and you can also contact us for a demo. Thank you very much.